Would you like to share the link I sent you? The
What
one
did you send it to?
about the Queen. So there's two stories there, and Nuria's gonna laugh her head out. So
please don't tell me this is the where she's a descendant of Prophet Muhammad. Please.
Oh yeah, it is.
That's
no.
That's the one.
Oh,
I mean, it's that desperation, isn't it? It's like everyone, and Muhammad started it at the beginning. He said, "Oh, everyone's born Muslim," and it's just I think there was, and now they're even following the Queen. Oh, the Queen is from a Muslim descent, and I tried to read it, but it's so convoluted.
Oh yeah. They Spanish. So this Princess Isabella from Spain was one of their like crucial links because they think that's like linked to when the Moors invaded or whatever, right? So
but it's but it might actually be true though. There's
Horace, stop it!
No, it's true. Look, Dawkins is saying that. No, there's nothing wrong with that. Look at this one. So the Queen may be descended. Right. The Queen may be descended from the Prophet Muhammad. The Times. No, may about it. Like statistically speaking, she almost certainly is. So are you, and so am I, and so is Uncle Tom.
Yes, Dawkins.
Yeah. See, second edition of the Ancestor's Tale for the full argument. I've read the first edition, so I haven't read the second one. But I think Ali Rizvi tried to explain it here. So Professor, maybe you've got better comprehension than me. So this is the relevant part. It says, with some justification, genealogists claim that anyone with even a modicum of European descent can trace their ancestry back to Charlemagne. Charlemagne, the infamous French king who was very brutal, and a lot of people say that he spread Christianity through sword. Since all European royal families count him amongst their ancestors. So all royal European families. So, so how many, you got to remember, like successful people end up, their branches get bigger and bigger and bigger. So, they got more banging opportunities, so to speak. So to take a non-royal,
not be so crude.
So to take a non-royal equivalent, Muhammad lived only a little earlier. Given Moorish history in southern Europe, I'm almost certainly Muhammad's direct descendant. More broadly, all my readers will have as ancestors not only many giants of antiquity, from Nebuchadnezzar to the first emperor of
China, yes,
but also their unknown contemporaries, from the builders of Stonehenge to Queen Nefertiti's hairstyles.
Okay, let's take the statement as it is. Can we declare her an ex-Muslim then? An ex-Muslim, because she's not Muslim, but she's descendant of the Prophet. So let's put our own spin.
Professor, have you seen what the Shias have done with their memes? So she's basically being welcomed into heaven.
Hugged by Khomeini.
Yeah, and
he hated her guts. He hated her guts and Britain after Salman Rushdie, because she ended up giving Salman Rushdie the title of a sir. And what have you. And yet he's hugging her. I mean, the contradiction, the double thinking, that it's just unbelievable, those people.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So wild.
So besides, but I think, but you're right. That's more important to say that, oh, hang on, he's an ex-Muslim. I remember she's an ex-Muslim. So I remember someone said, remember that we discussed that some Saudi guy, motivational speaker or something, he poked Elon Musk and he said, oh, come to the real God, you were born a Muslim, and then something like that. And I said, and then I did a clickbaity thumbnail, and I said, so Elon Musk is an ex-Muslim too? Because Elon Musk said, no, sorry, I don't believe in that. So if you're saying he was born a Muslim and then he no longer believes in it, well, he's an ex-Muslim.
So technically, everybody who's not Muslim currently is an ex-Muslim.
Oh yeah, we are the This is
the largest group. Yes.
We are the largest denomination. So the largest group of people on this planet, ideologically speaking, or in terms of religion, are the ex-Muslims.
Yep.
Yes.
Everyone's born a Muslim, but 4.8. Okay, so what's the world's population? 8 billion? Let's just say 8 billion.
8 billion.
Okay, so let's just go with 8 billion, and 2 billion of them are Muslim. So 6 billion are no longer Muslims. So we have 6 billion ex-Muslims in the world. So screw you. We are the stupidest people on the planet. Why? Because despite being the largest group, we still, we haven't created any countries, and we haven't created our own laws and our value system. Jeez, man, there's a lot of work needs to be done. That's all we need to tell all these ex-Muslims that, hey, you're an ex-Muslim. All you Christians, you're ex-Muslims.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's no wonder that Islam is perpetually then in a state of dar al-harb, because we're the majority, so they have to be in a state of war because they need to dominate.
Oh.
and the next one, R.I.P. the Queen. If you want to talk about.
Oh yeah, that one. I actually wanted to talk to Nuria about this one as well, because Nuria is not a monarchist, and I'm a Republican as well, but I'm that's coming from an Australian point of view. But I was a little bit sad.
I was sad as well, most definitely. Like on a human level, for sure. I was.
Yeah, on a human level,
and you have to understand, being born and stuff here. She's all I've ever known. She's all my parents have ever known. She's all, to be honest, my grandparents have ever known as the monarch here. In terms of. Look, I'm going to put it bluntly before we get it, and then I'll let you guys speak, because okay. So I think the royal family are far from perfect. I'm honestly not an ardent supporter of the royal family. I'd go as far as to say, I think in this day and age, the concept of monarchy and the divine right to rule and the buck being passed down the family and them literally living off taxpayers' money just to be a ceremonial emblem for the country that might rake in some money from tourists across the pond who are oh so fascinated by English culture and tradition because, it was once their culture and tradition. It doesn't do it for me. It doesn't take away from, honestly, a lot of the things that are questionable around the Queen, not just the Queen. And this is why I say on a human level, it was really sad. It was almost like, a grandmother of the nation had passed away. It feels weird. The nation is going to be in mourning for a good few days. Seeing all the ceremonies play out on TV, it does bring up things. It's like an insanely historic time. But as far as like the Queen and, her own parents and their affiliations with the Nazis during the war and them being Nazi sympathizers, and the Queen had passed some legislation as well not to allow Black people to work in the palace. Her son turned out to be a pedophile. She used taxpayers' money to pay. There's things there that are just too much for me to gloss over personally. And I just think that the
colonial
UK
legacy. A lot of people are blaming
exactly
the very
that's not her fault. I know, I understand that, but after she had come into, I know that in a constitutional democracy, she has no power, right? She's just a figurehead. But the things that happened under her rule in the name of colonialism and under colonialism,
look how far England has come.
It doesn't matter. She has stolen trillions of wealth from the Commonwealth, from the colonies. No, as in them as a dynasty, them as a family, them as a concept. Okay, it trickles down. The fact that she's got Kohinoors in her crown, which are literally yanked out of palaces in India, right? Leaving these countries behind. Look at the state of Africa. We've got to look at what happened during that whole realm of colonization. And I know that's what I'm saying. It's not down to one person. It's wrong. It's not like
old lady.
She was a very dedicated, hardworking, principled lady with a lot of conviction to public duty, and I really respect her sense of duty and her work ethic. And she was
part of a system, though.
Yeah, I understand that. That's what I'm saying. The whole institution is to blame. I have nothing.
Well, then every democracy is to be blamed. Then we should hate the presidents of America as well, because they're part of the system where they've got these imperialistic goals.
She's had a long reign. Okay, she was around since she was.
Sorry, she didn't die sooner.
No. I'm saying there's a long span of history here that we're talking. So there were things done in her time. If we're taking England's history from Churchill as Prime Minister, if we just want to account for her rule, it's still Churchill until Liz Truss today. That is a long period of history.
Yeah, and there were some things. Look,
I'm not saying
England has gone from. No, but I'm saying, look how far England has come. Like Britain, from a very white-dominated country to a actually melting pot of multiculturalism, and it's a mess now. It's a lot less racist than what it was when she came to power, or if you want to even call it power. So it's like.
But also, that's through no success of her own. I mean, she banned Black people from even applying for jobs to work in her palace.
When was this?
I can pull it up. We can go into it. I didn't realize.
No, but like,
I
get that. I'm not denying that. I'm saying, was it recent or was it at the start of it? I'm saying, was it at the start of her reign?
As soon as she moved into, I think it was Buckingham Palace or something, when she had a huge change of stuff. No. I don't know when she moved. I don't keep track of where the
52. So it'd be 52 in the 50s, yeah. So people were racist back in the 50s, yeah. We get that.
And the Queen was complicit in that.
Yeah, but the
why
Queen
are you
evolved.
absolving her?
No, but I'm saying Queen evolved. Like, I mean, if we bring Abraham Lincoln from the 19th century and put him here, we would find him the most racist person on the planet. I'm saying we should not judge people by our today's standards, even though
she lived in today's times as well.
No, and then she changed. I don't think she. So that would have she would have done that in the 50s. So
we can't confirm that. Let's confirm when it actually happened.
Okay. No, so I once gave this statement. I had this speaking engagement in Melbourne, and I once said that, every generation is better than the previous one, morally speaking. And there's this atheist old man, probably in his 80s or 70s, he got up and he said, I'm very upset at that. Back in my day, things were so good. We could leave the doors open and everything was fine. I was like, I'm sorry. That's not true. There was more crime. Okay, even if you ignore that, but your moral values, and I'm asking, what were your views about women? What were your views about homosexuals? What were your views about people of different races? ABC Australia plays these videos from 50s and 60s where white Aussies are saying, oh no, I think Australia should remain a white country. Now those people are extremely racist. And their views might have evolved as well as people. So the same person, if they lived long enough, and they would be like, okay, you know what? No, that's okay. Maybe we were wrong. And this is how ideas change. So Queen Elizabeth lived for 96 years. So even though when she was growing up, she might have looked at black people and brown people like us with contempt or with disdain or with like, oh, these people are inferior people or they're my subject, British subjects. But then she evolved. So why can't we give her that concession?
Can I put my
Sure.
point there as well? She doesn't have verse 33:21 that makes her an example for everyone anyway. She was a product of her environment, and I agree with Harris there. She changed. If she was still holding these views now, I would totally agree. And I saw that in my parents, for instance, and an older generation who also used to. At least my dad, when he was in Africa, he used to look at black people in a very racist way.
Yeah.
But as the morality around him changed and people forced him to change his view, he changed. So I wouldn't judge him in his later years on what he did in his earlier years. But I also understand Nouria's point on that her wealth is accumulated historically from abusing other nations and stealing. I would imagine that she could have done a lot more to return some of these things and to make good. For instance, some of these diamonds, some of these crowns, some of the, like when Germany paid off a huge lump of compensation,
war reparations, but that was done in the duress, because Germany lost the war. That's why.
Yeah, I still think they could have done more, but I understand both views there. But the point is, can we wish her rest in peace? Can we actually say rest in peace? So I can see Nouria nodding her head. I can see Harris.
I'm a Muslim.
Agree.
I'm a Muslim. No, we can't. I'm a Muslim. We can't. Astaghfirullah. Look at this one. There is no rest in peace in the grave of a person who died without accepting Islam. Once someone enters the grave, the judgment begins. For the non-Muslims, there will never be any peace as they died in a state of disbelief. Quran 9:113. So this is a clarifying line. Look at this. Oh, we're a very religious organization, very peaceful people. Yay.
108,000 followers. 108,000 followers they have. It's not shown there, I think. And I shared it on my page, and it refers to that verse. And that verse, when you read into it, it says that you can't ask forgiveness for anyone who dies and does not believe and disbelieves in the Prophet. So that's the verse there. It is not for the Prophet or those who have believed to ask forgiveness for polytheists, even if they were relatives, after it's become clear to them that they are companions of hellfire. So the story behind it, and this in the tafsir, is that the uncle of the Prophet, Abu Talib, who was a well-respected Qurayshi and very loved and by many people around him, who protected the Prophet when they were attacking him, who went to his support and loved the Prophet, despite the fact that he never actually believed in Islam, was dying. And the Prophet was visiting him. And he came across, when he went to see him, when Abu Talib was dying, the Prophet went to him and found Abu Jahl, which is the Arabic words for, person who doesn't know. It became, but it didn't used to mean Abu Jahl at the time. And Abdullah bin Abi Umayyah were present. So he basically said, "I'll ask Allah if He can give him forgiveness." But then came back and said, "Well, no, Allah is not going to give him forgiveness because he died not believing." And it's a quite shocking. I mean, you can take parallels from almost every person we value, from Nelson Mandela to Gandhi, to every person you ever thought he's an inspiration, Martin Luther King, where all these people in Islam,
Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah, so it makes no difference to you what it doesn't make a difference how nice and helpful and peaceful or what have you they're going to hell in Islam. And then there's a hadith which I wish I pulled it up before I came in, because now it's just to my mind. It was shared on my page.
It's already on the screen, yeah.
Yeah, no. If you open the Arabic translated meme, it was one of the people wrote it on my page. Let me just dig it up now quickly.
Are you talking about? So you've told the story of Abu Talib, but there's another story as well, which says here. This hadith is recorded in two Sahihs. Ibn Jarir reported that once Muhammad went to Mecca and he went to the grave of his mother and he started crying. And then he prayed for her. And then the naughty people around all the time, they're like, we got you, Prophet. You tell us that, mushrikeens, the polytheists, you can't say rest in peace for them. You can't pray for them. Why are you doing that here for your mother? And then I was like, okay, I'm not going to pray for my own mother. So that guy threw his mother under the bus just because he wanted to appear logically consistent. So I raise a bigger point here. First of all, the Quranic verse that we just showed you, that actually says mushrikeen. Correct me if I'm wrong, Professor. Mushrikeen is only polytheists. So Queen Elizabeth, if we go, she's a person of book. So we can say technically rest in peace for her, because look at this. This says polytheists, not people of the book.
Yeah, but they consider Christians as polytheists as well, because they consider that they have brought in another God.
They're Unitarians. Okay, what about Unitarians? What about Unitarians?
Then I think they might fall under the category, because they believe, but their books have been slightly corrupted, but they're still Unitarians. So they might maybe go. They'll be in that set where you go to hell for a bit, and then Allah replaces you and takes you to heaven.
Look. I don't even care, but I'm just saying that there is a loophole in their own reasoning, because the Quran actually does separate them. The Quran says mushrikeen, polytheists, and the people of the book, i.e. Jews and Christians. So Quran did know that these Christians have Trinity, and then Jews have corrupted the books and whatever. But I'm saying Quran actually does make a distinction between these two groups of people. So according to this verse, it actually doesn't apply on Queen Elizabeth, who was Christian. So
no, but
I know
Horace,
Muslims say that.
Sometimes it does make a distinction, but the Quran is all over the place, right? Sometimes it says polytheists and people of the book, but also, even if you take polytheists, you can add Christians and Jews into that by the Quran's own verses, because as Professor was saying, Christianity, they think the three of them are all gods or whatever, right? And then they also say that claim about Jews taking Ezra as their god or whatever. So that's also polytheism. It's also shirk.
Yeah, but
so
that's
they
wrong.
also but that's the Quran's own wording.
I get it. No, but Quran is all jumbled up though. But I'm just saying, like, your Quran should have. Yeah, Quran is all jumbled up. But I'm just saying that Muslims don't take it. So I'm just saying that you could throw that in a Muslim's face. That you can say, hey. But anyway, but the other point that I wanted to make is, like, God's favorite person, Muhammad, his mother. Oh, by the way, Abu Talib, when Abu Talib was dying, he said, "Hey, Abu Talib, why don't you just accept Islam? You know, you're going to go to hell." And then Muslims try to come up with I think there's a hadith professor. Abu Talib will be in the lowest part of the hell, or in the least terrible form of hell, where the hellfire would only be up to his ankles. So he'll be just like dancing all the time. Ooh, he's hot, you know. But he's not going to be fully bit.
It's so clearly that Muhammad was struggling with that. He would have been struggling because Abu Talib would have been such a support to him. But let me take you to this.
But also, I want to finish my point. Yeah, I'll bring that. Just send me the link in private chat. I'll bring that up. But so Abu Talib is going to go to hell with with this tiny bit of hellfire just up to his ankles. But Prophet Muhammad's mum and dad. Dad, by the way, is the one whose eye there was light emanating from his forehead because he was because his seed carried Muhammad, and Muhammad's mother was so blessed that there was light coming out of her certain body parts because Muhammad wasn't going to come out of it. This is all written, and we discussed that I think it's in page 69, 70, 71, 72 of the Seerah of Muhammad. So those wonderful people, great people who brought the bestest person on the planet to life, but they are going to burn in hell because Prophet Muhammad can't even pray for their what's the word? For maghfirat. What's the English for maghfirat?
Salvation.
Yeah, so Muhammad can't even pray for their salvation. The question is, why did Allah not let Amina live long enough so she could actually hear Muhammad's message? Maybe she would have converted to Islam, or her father, or his father, go past the age of Muhammad's age of 40, so he could have converted to Islam. It's all screwed up. It's such an evil doctrine that actually, and hence you can't even pray for the. Muslims send how many duroods? They send these salutations to Muhammad 100 times a day. But you can't do it for Muhammad's mother. How wicked is that, Nuria?
Yeah, it's so
how wicked. Who doesn't love their mother? And why should you not love the mother? So does that mean because she was a kafra on the same footing as Abu Jahl, can we curse her? Because Muhammad can't pray for her salvation. She died in the position of kufr.
Also, why would God use two kuffars or two polytheists to give birth to the seal of his prophets and then have them tortured in his own?
And this is how they actually spin it. If you actually ask a Muslim, because they're so embarrassed by this fact, they say, no. They believe. They weren't polytheists. They believed in the religion of Abraham.
They didn't. They had Hubal and stuff in their house.
Exactly. So and if they were Deen Ibrahim, why can't you just say? Because on one hand they say, oh, those people will be forgiven who did not get the message of Allah, meaning they died before Muhammad's time. So why can't you pray for their salvation? Why? Because they're kafir. So it's all a mess.
Yeah.
It's all a mess.
And I mean, do you remember what's the Prophet's father's name?
Abdullah. Supposedly. Yeah.
How could that happen? How could he be Abdullah before Allah, unless you have to take into consideration that he was Abdullah, which is
slave of Allah, the god.
Slave of Allah. And how
they say Allah, the moon god, existed as well. They say Allah itself.
So it was really a polytheist way. Sorry, Sunnah.com is not opening on my computer while I'm doing this connection. I think it's because the streaming is using.
What's the hadith number? Do you know?
Well, it's Sahih Muslim 94A, and it's by Dahr.
Yeah. Here we
So
go.
just a really quick point before we get onto that is the fact that, like, Muhammad, again, as soon as he was born, right, he was given over to a woman to basically feed him. So he didn't have that primary caring time with his actual mother. But then you can see he'd always be like detached and have like, you know, this separation, and it would emotionally affect him to the point where even after he's formulated this new religion, almost he's asking, can I, you know, let me go pray for my mom. Like it's still something that meant something to him. And even that, the fact that that was rejected, and that wasn't allowed, I really think these small interactions or the lack of his mother being around lent towards the way he treated women later on in his life. I really think there's something there.
Absolutely, I agree.
By the way, they've looks like Sunnah.com is down. Maybe Allah has just cursed it because, you know, it's become a source of great embarrassment for Muslims.
Let me read it then out for you, and anyone can cross-check it. So I say, I heard Abu Dahr narrating it from the Apostle, sallallahu alaihi wasallam in bracket, that he observed Gabriel came to me and gave me the tiding. Verily, he who died amongst you, Ummah, without associating anything with Allah, would enter paradise. I said, even if he committed adultery and theft, the Holy Prophet said, yes, even if he committed adultery and theft. So yes, I mean, it kind of puts them at the same level. You can still say ask forgiveness for those who commit adultery, theft, or whatever crimes they've done, as long as they are a Muslim.
It's easy, isn't it, Islam? It's like you say the magic words to get in and absolve yourself of everything. You can do the worst things throughout your life, and you say that secret code on your way out.
There's so many other Turks of that hadith as well. Like I've got the whole folder of that. There's like 11 of them. So even if you've murdered and blah blah blah. So you know, this is Sahih Bukhari 1237. This is the same thing. Sahih Bukhari 5827. Even if he had committed illegal sexual intercourse and theft, even he had, he asked him 3 times. Look, literally 1, 2, 3, 4. He said even if he had committed, in spite of the Abu Dhar's dislike, Abu Abdullah said, this is at the time of death or before. If one repents and regrets and says no one has the right to be worshipped but Allah, he will be forgiven for his sin.
If you like these videos and want to support me in my activism, then you can support me on Patreon or PayPal. Stay free, everyone.